freshman, with his third interception of the season for Wisconsin. We welcome those of you watching on ABC. You just watched Texas defeat Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry game. This game just underway, less than a minute in. Northwestern drove to midfield after taking the opening kickoff, and then this happened.
And Kane Coulter makes the mistake of trying to throw across his body back to the middle of the field. Good disciplined defenses will make you pay, just like the Badgers did.
Sojourn Shelton, the interception for Wisconsin. Badgers' first possession starts from their own 36. Right to the ground game they go. No surprise. James White ahead for about 2.5. Part of a dynamic tandem of tailbacks along with Melvin Gordon. The Badgers as a team averaging 300 yards rushing per game. 6th in the country, number 1 in the Big Ten. White averages just under 7 yards per carry, and Melvin Gordon averaging 10 yards per carry. 10.3 to be precise. Joel Stavey is the quarterback, swings it out to their leading receiver, Jared Abrederis. He delivers a blow, lost the ball at the 50, and Northwestern has it. Chichi Araguzzo runs it back into Wisconsin territory. So a possession for each team and a turnover for each team, and a very rare turnover by the Wisconsin Badgers.
And not so rare for the Wildcat defense. This is what they're known for, and this is how they stay in ball games. It's all about effort to the football. As Damian Proby comes in from his middle linebacker position, you see right here, he's going to put a helmet right in the back to spring that ball loose along with Travion Henry. And I love the fact, Sean, that he picked the ball up and advanced the football, trusting his athletic ability to make the play.
15th takeaway for Northwestern this year. They lead the conference, and Wisconsin the fewest turnovers entering today's game in the Big Ten. As a matter of fact, since the start of 2010, Wisconsin has the fewest turnovers of any team in the country. Only 36 since the start of 2010 entering today, and that's 10 fewer than any other team. Alabama next with 46. Kane Coulter, the quarterback. Trayvon Green in at running back, 2nd and 6. And the catch made by Rashad Lawrence, who turned to get the first down at the 28-yard line. Sojourn Shelton made the tackle. An inexperienced secondary, and Pat Fitzgerald and his staff will try to take advantage of that today. Stephen Buckley listed as their 4th string running back, but getting a carry early. Desmond Southward made the stop, but that's another 9-yard gain on the carry by Buckley, who got a nice block on the corner.
Yeah, you're going to see right here, Chris Borland gets cut by an offensive lineman, and that little hesitation that Chris made cost him the extra step to get there to make a play 5 yards down the field.
William Park, the guard, got out there to him. Very athletic offensive line. Coulter couldn't throw the quick pass, so he pulls it down and runs to the 10. It'll be first down for Northwestern. Tanner McAvoy, a former quarterback, made the stop. He's now a safety for the Badgers. Here are some impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, Venrick Mark will make his mark known, catching, running, and returning. Tony Jones, the speedster, and on defense, Tyler Scott, a defensive end, will create some havoc against Stabby and the Badger offense.
First and goal from the 10-yard line. No score just underway on homecoming here in Madison, Wisconsin. First meeting between these two Big Ten rivals since 2010. Venrick Mark slides inside the 5, down near the 3-yard line. McAvoy made the tackle. There's a young man who was a quarterback until a month ago, but with the problems in the secondary, lack of depth, they wanted to take advantage of his athleticism.
Well, and he earned that job in practice. Coaches told us yesterday he had about 15 interceptions on scout team. That's why he's out there now. 6'6", a big-bodied safety.
Never played safety until a month ago, not even in high school. Mark again, driven back by Ethan Armstrong, senior outside linebacker, their 4th leading tackler for the year. former walk-on, one of several, have had a big impact on this Badger program.
I had a chance to talk with Ethan. Very instinctive, partners up well with Borland in the middle. Third down here, and this is where the problem for the Badger defense comes into play. When you have a dual threat quarterback like Kane Coulter, you have to protect the middle against any scramble and him changing a throwing lane into a running lane.
Shotgun for Coulter on 3rd down and goal. Nowhere to throw it, and now running out of time and sacked back at the 10-yard line. Chris Borland, the outstanding linebacker. Gary Anderson, his coach, says he's the best linebacker in the country. That's a loss of 6.
Well, again, and Chris Borland is not really on the blitz, but he's coming here on a delayed rush. And the one thing he has that a lot of guys don't have, he has football speed. That's why he's able to run Kane Coulter down from behind.
There'll be a field goal try from Wisconsin native Jeff Budzine, one of the best kickers in the country. And he's good from 27 yards. Big Ten Kicker of the Year a year ago. Pat Fitzgerald and the Cats first on the board.
This telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Vizio.
Back at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Northwestern taking advantage of a rare Wisconsin turnover. Takes a 27-yard field goal by Jeff Budzine, and the Wildcats lead 3-0. Budzine will kick off. Kenzel Doe back deep. Speedy return man. They've been without him the last couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. And Doe from the goal line. Run out of bounds at midfield by Ibrahim Campbell, the starting safety for Northwestern. So just a little more than 5 minutes in, Chris Spielman, and already plenty of action and a few surprises. A Wisconsin turnover is a surprise. A Northwestern takeaway is not. But what do you look for big picture today?
Well, I think what it's telling me, at least the feel of the game, is both offenses are going to move the football, and who's going to make the stop. And that was a stop for Wisconsin, holding them to 3, because Northwestern's very good in the red zone. Chris Borland made a big play, and the question is, can the Northwestern Wildcat defense hold up against the rush game of the Badgers?
Joel Stabby, the quarterback, coming off the best performance of his career 2 weeks ago. Threw for a career-high 295 in that one-touchdown loss to Ohio State in Columbus. Melvin Gordon. Down to the 45. Ibrahim Campbell made another tackle. Stabby from Greenfield, Wisconsin. Became a starting quarterback last year as a freshman, and as we mentioned, coming off a high point. That performance last week, the coaches say the next step is to be consistently more accurate on a throw-to-throw basis. Sometimes the easy throws that are there, he doesn't put the ball where it needs to be, leading 62% for the year. Gordon took the toss. He's in trouble and gets banged down back at the 48-yard line. Excellent penetration by the defense. Colin Ellis leading the way for the Wildcats.
One thing you'll get with a Wildcat defense is pursuit to the football, and they play hard for Coach Hankowitz and Coach Fitzgerald. Sean, just a real quick point on Stabby. He gets Pedersen back this week. That's a big target at a tight end, which will give him another target besides Abradaris.
There's Jacob Pedersen, the tight end. Deep tight end group, but he is a pass-catching threat. A very fitted wide receiver beyond Abradaris. Wildcats blitz. Stabby in trouble, and he'll be sacked back at the 41-yard line. Ibrahim Campbell came on a safety blitz. Araguzzo, the linebacker, also there. And it'll be a punt.
Well, Ibrahim Campbell just coming and splitting the guard in the tackle, and the running back, number 20, James White, misses his man, and Ibrahim Campbell made the sack and a big play.
Henrik Mark back deep. He was an All-American last year as a punt returner. Drew Meyer is the punter. Fair catch signaled. He was bobbled a bit. Looks like Mark's looking into the sun. That might be a problem for him. Looked like he struggled to see the ball on the opening kickoff as well.
ABC College Football, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Goodyear, chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
Wisconsin athletics this week. It's red and white fight hunger drive. Student athletes going door to door collecting food. Since its debut in 2008, they've collected nearly 14 tons of food for families in need here in the Madison area. Trevor Siemian, now part of that 2-quarterback approach from Northwestern, is in. He's more of the classic drop back thrower, less of a running threat than Coulter, but as Chris said earlier, he can move the chains with his feet if need be. He slings off the receiver's hands and incomplete. Dan Vitale dropped it. Here's Shannon Spake down on the field.
Well, Sean, it's a common statement from coaches. We have to get off to a fast start. But that is exactly what Coach Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern told me during warm-ups, and they have acted on that, putting the first points on the board. They have not gotten over the loss last weekend at Ohio State. They came into this game mad, but they're channeling the emotions in a positive way, according to the coach.
Quick throw by Siemian out to Rashad Lawrence. Vince Beagle made the tackle. It's very near another first down. Looks like they're going to mark it just shy of the 25. Third down and very short. Simeon's a junior from Windermere, Florida. The Orlando area. Hands it off straight ahead and nothing doing. Trayvon Green driven back by Pat Muldoon and Chris Borland.
Well, when you run his zone read option with Siemian, he's not likely going to keep the ball, and you'll see right there that Muldoon and Borland don't even honor the quarterback keeping the football. They just close on Green and get the TFL, tackle for loss. Big play by the Badger defense, huge.
Brandon Williams on to punt. Denzel Doe back for it. There's zone 36. Williams had one blocked last week, and this is a shank. Off the side of his foot, apparently, and out of bounds. Just barely across midfield. They'll mark it at the 48-yard line. 28-yard punt. Pat Fitzgerald blamed himself for the block punt last week, saying that Ohio State overloaded one side. They didn't do a good job adjusting to it. That was a big play. It was blocked and recovered in the end zone by the Buckeyes for a touchdown. And as Shannon said, it was a tough loss to the Buckeyes, but Pat Fitzgerald pointed out they lost 3 tough games last year, and every time they bounced back to win the next week. Been a resilient team the last couple of years. Melvin Gordon did well to stay on his feet. It looked like it would be no gain. Instead, he got about 5, crossed midfield. Fabian Henry will be credited with the tackle. Safety for Northwestern.
I'm just watching Melvin Gordon last time they played against Ohio State. I thought he didn't break enough tackles, Sean. There were some arm tackles that he could have run through that he did not. And I look for him to run a little bit more aggressive and just a little bit of a bigger chip on his shoulder to get through those arm tackles and make something happen by making people miss.
He had a season low 74 yards against Ohio State last week. Didn't play in the 4th quarter after injuring his knee. James White's in. He's hit at the line and wrestled down immediately. Chichi Araguzzo, the leading tackler for the Northwestern defense. Matter of fact, their top 3 tacklers are the linebackers. Araguzzo, Proby, and Ellis.
And that's the test for them. I mean, Coach Fitzgerald said they lost their attack mentality against Ohio State, and he was referring to the linebackers not playing downhill, kind of shuffling along the side. Right now, so far early in this game, they're downhill Jessies.
Olstavi to the shotgun. White is the running back on his left hip. Good pressure. Stavi throws incomplete, intended for Jared Abradaris. Even if he caught it, it was short of the first down. Nick Van Hoos had the coverage. Wisconsin hasn't had a first down yet.
And good pressure right there by Tyler Scott. Very active defensive lineman for Northwestern. Didn't touch the throw, but he forced Stavi to change his body position, which made the throw inaccurate.
Tony Jones goes back now for the Drew Meyer punt. Henrik Mark's been battling leg injuries all year long. Had some sore hamstrings this week, and he doesn't really look like he's moving very fluidly today. Nice punt by Meyer, out of bounds at the 12-yard line. 35-yard punt. Tonight on ESPN's college football primetime, SEC West rival square up. Johnny Manziel and 9th-ranked Texas A&M go into Oxford to take on Ole Miss. Presented by Hampton Hotels tonight at 8:30 on ESPN. Johnny Manziel's numbers for the first 5 games similar to those he posted last year in his Heisman Trophy season. A&M has put up 40 or more points in each of the first 5 games of the season for the first time in school history. Trevor Siemian still the quarterback. Flings it to the far side. Cameron Dickerson for the first down. Out to the 25-yard line. There might be something wrong with Kane Coulter. They're taking him to the dressing room.
That'd be a big loss, but I guess the advantage of having 2 quarterback system, you know the guy that's going in there has reps.
Kyle Prater the catch. Siemian throwing it around to a bunch of different receivers for Prater. Just his 6th catch of the year. Let's get more on Kane Coulter. Here's Shannon.
Well, I did just check in with the training facility, or the training people at the Northwestern team, and they told me that Kane has just tweaked a little bit of his ankle. He said he's fine, he's good to go. Looks like they're probably just bringing him back there to fix that up a little bit, but they have assured me he's good to go.
Badgers brought the blitz at Siemian. Michael Caputo came on the blitz. Mike Jensen was the intended receiver. Ball off target. You see Benrick Marcus also going to the dressing room. He came in with some leg issues.
See, Michael Caputo right there is playing a nickelback or some type of linebacker position, normally a safety. Wisconsin has to generate pressure, Sean, by bringing blitzers from different areas. They're not good enough in their defensive line to get pressure with just 3 or 4.
3rd down and 7. 4.5 to go first quarter. Northwestern leading 3-0. 4-man rush. Siemian throwing a deep ball far sideline and way over the head of Rashad Lawrence with Sojourn Shelton in coverage. This is similar to what happened the first game of the year out at Cal when Coulter was the starting quarterback. He was injured on the 2nd offensive play. Siemian played the rest of the game and played very well, threw for 276 and 2 touchdowns as Northwestern had a road win. Kenzel Doe, a fair catch of the Brandon Williams punt, 35-yard punt. 1st and 10, Wisconsin. Joel Stabby, play action pass, going deep, and has a man open. Abradaris, touchdown, Wisconsin. Model huddle, and now they shift back to extra point position. Abradaris 63 yards. And Wisconsin has the lead. Kyle French, the extra point. Now to the hold of the punter, Drew Meyer. Abradaris, former walk-on quarterback, has become, over the course of his career, one of the best receivers in Wisconsin history.
It's Melvin Gordon going to come in. He commands such respect because of the fly sweep play action pass. It draws the safeties up. And now if you're Northwestern, Sean, you got a guy that's caught 33 balls on a year, the top receiver. You've got to account for where he is and make sure that you protect the deep end. He's just taking off, running straight and running a little bit of post, and Stabby throws it up there so he can run underneath. Easy 6.
There's 2 catches today now, 35 receptions. The next highest total among the Wisconsin receivers is 6 catches. So when it comes to paying attention to the Wisconsin wideouts, if you're Northwestern, Abradaris is the man. As a matter of fact, Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, told us one of his challenges is finding ways to move Abradaris around to get him away from some double coverage and get him open for Joel Stabby.
Well, what helped too was the threat again of Melvin Gordon. I know Northwestern has a lot of fear about Melvin Gordon running that fly sweep. They ran the play action off of it, and Abradaris ran scot-free without any disruption of the route, just right down the middle of the field. poor execution by the Wildcat defense.
Andrew Endicott kicks off. Michael Panico back there without Venrick Mark in the game. So with both Mark and Coulter are unable to continue, that's a couple of very big losses to this Northwestern offense. Let's go back to Shannon.
The trainer telling me Mark also tweaked his ankle. Couldn't give me a specific side, but they said both he and Kane Coulter are back there just getting some tape. But they expect them both to come back out, and they expect them both to be back in the game.
They need Mark. I mean, he is their most explosive player. Even at maybe 95 or 90%, he gives them that home run threat.
Mike Trumpy is the running back right now to the right of Trevor Simeon. And Talley, the motion man. Here's the veteran Trumpy, fifth-year senior, chopped down after he crossed the 30 by Chris Borland.
I think, Sean, when I watched Borland play, I was talking to some NFL scouts, and he's got a future in the NFL. Despite his size, he's so athletic and so productive, you'd be crazy not to give him a shot somewhere.
Listed at 5'11", deep throw, nice hands catch. Did he finish the catch? Tony Jones, incomplete pass. It looked like it was going to be a very nice acrobatic catch near midfield, but he couldn't hang on and complete the catch.
Yeah, this is going to be a game of almost, and this is an almost great catch. But if you want to win this game and compete, you'll be able to make those catches and keep the drive alive.
3rd down and 5. Northwestern. Simeon's pass looked like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete. Intended for Christian Jones. Vince Beagle got in the way of Simeon's throw.
Well, they get a little bit more athletic on 3rd downs. They bring Vince Beagle and Brendan Kelly in as pass rushers on the outside. And right now they're doing a good job, and one reason why is they're well rested. They're not playing 1st or 2nd down. They're coming in fresh and hungry to get after the quarterback, and it paid off.
Northwestern's 0 for 4 on 3rd downs now. Williams punts. Northwestern's been the worst net punting team in the Big Ten, and it hasn't gone particularly well for them today either. Back in 30 seconds. On 1st down for Wisconsin, Melvin Gordon to the 32-yard line. Chance Carter made the stop for Northwestern. Gordon, the leading rusher in the Big Ten, entering today's action, number 8 in the country, averaging 139 yards per game, and the most carries he's had in the game is 16. They had some blowout wins early in the year against UMass and Tennessee Tech. James White takes over now. He has more than 3,000 career rushing yards, 2nd in the FBS among all active players, behind David Llewellyn of Toledo. Stabby, another play-action pass. And not enough on it for Abradaris, and almost picked off by Nick Van Hoos.
Better job of recognition by the Wildcats, and Van Hoos is going to follow Abradaris across the field. Number 23, you're going to see him take a good angle, cut him off, trust his speed. Now the difference, a game of almost. That's a play that you have to make in this type of ball game. That's 2 almost for Northwestern, 0 for Wisconsin.
And if you're Wisconsin, Stabby, had he thrown that ball a little earlier, had Abradaris open, didn't have enough on it. It was a little bit too late, gave the defender time to close. 3rd down and 7. You saw Coulter on his way back to the Wildcat sideline. Stabby, the catch made by Jacob Pedersen, but that is a great example of what we said a moment ago, what Andy Ludwig is talking about. If Stabby is more accurate with that throw, he hits him in stride and there's run after the catch. There are too many times with throws like that that the receiver has to dive to make a catch.
Yeah, and you can see, that's a great point. You can also see his hesitation to run the football to get the 1st down, which would have been a much easier play for him. But you're right, Sean, those intermediate throws is where he needs to improve his accuracy for this offense to be clicking on all cylinders.
Their own 44. The Badgers go 1st and 10. 2 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. A screen to the tight end, Pedersen. He has another 1st down to the 45-yard line of Northwestern. Chance Carter, another tackle.
Well, right here you're going to see James White. He's going to come off the play action. And Watt, number 34, is going to remove the defensive back. And I tell you, Araguzzo, number 44, does a good job of at least forcing the ball back into the pursuing defense, avoiding the cut block. That could have been a big play if Araguzzo doesn't force that ball back in.
There's an 11-yard gain. Melvin Gordon back in. Inside the 40, banged down by Damian Proby. They try to make the touches even, as you can see, coming into the ball game. One rush separating the two. They come to the line quickly. And another inaccurate throw by Stavi. It should be a much easier throw than he just made that one look. Low for Alex Erickson.
That's the improvement that he needs to make. And one thing about what Andy Ludwig and Coach Anderson did when they came in here, they adjusted what they want to do eventually to what Wisconsin is. Now, they're never going to lose that physical part of that football game, but eventually, as they move forward in their careers here, they would like to get a little bit more athletic at that quarterback position.
Go to more of the spread game so many teams use, with more of a dual threat type quarterback. But Stavi won the battle in the preseason to be the starter. He's done a lot of very good things for this team as they've gone 3-2 to start the year. Two heartbreaking losses, that controversial loss at Arizona State when the officials botched the end of the game, and that loss at Ohio State 2 weeks ago by a touchdown. They very easily could be 4-1, Chris. Remember, when I look at Wisconsin in my mind, I almost give them 4-1 because in all likelihood they would have won the game at Arizona State had the officials not mismanaged the end of that game. But their focus today is on this game, and a very important game for both teams because they both have one loss in the Big Ten. Really, at this time of the year, can't afford another.
Yeah, and you look at it for Northwestern, I mean, if they can just hold up defensively, because eventually Mick McCall, the offensive coordinator, their offense will get in rhythm. They'll score points with anybody. The question mark for them is their defense. And for Wisconsin, I think it's opposite. Wisconsin has a pretty darn good defense, a little suspect in the back end, but can their offense continually be consistent as they progress into the schedule and play against better competition besides Ohio State?
I think some people are wondering how good Wisconsin is because the 3 wins are all against weak opponents, UMass, Tennessee Tech, and Purdue. They lost to the 2 good teams they played, although the Arizona State one comes with an asterisk. Is that an interception in bounds? It's off of Aberdaris, and yes, it is. Ibrahim Campbell with the interception if it stands. There is a flag on the play near sideline at the line of scrimmage. Jerry McGinn is the referee.
Legal formation, offense, number 61, 5 players in the backfield. Penalties decline. Ruling on the field is an interception. First down.
Tyler Merritt's, the left tackle, not lined up correctly.
Well, Stavi puts this ball exactly where he's supposed to put it, on the back shoulder, and a catch that Aberdaris normally makes. He bobbles it, and Ibrahim Campbell from his safety position taking great angles. That's the key to playing safety, is understanding angles. And I love where the awareness he was on the field to keep both feet in bounds.
On the field was an interception
when he catches the ball.
Steve Beckman in the replay booth reviewing just to make sure, but it looked like he had possession of the ball and actually had both feet in. It stands as his 4th interception of the season. From last year into the start of this year, he had a string of 5 straight games with an interception, which was the school record. Well, his left foot's in. It looks like he got the right toes down. Has possession of the ball. That's an interception. The 16th takeaway of the year for the Northwestern defense.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Interception, first down.
And both turnovers by Wisconsin really on Jared Aberdaris. Fumbled while running after a catch, and then that ball, as you said, Chris, should have been caught.
Yeah, it was a perfectly thrown ball, and he's pretty accurate at those throws between 17+ yards. It's the short ones that he needs to work on. Let's see if Northwestern can capitalize on turnovers.
Pistol now with Kane Coulter back in there. A little more tape on his ankles, apparently. Nice patience to get about a 5-yard gain before he ran into Chris Borland. There are a lot of people going to run into Chris Borland. Pat Fitzgerald, himself a former great college linebacker in the College Football Hall of Fame, said Borland plays the position the way it is supposed to be played. Stephen Buckley straight ahead. About 2 yards short of the first down. Derek Landish made the tackle. Borland again nearby.
He got hurt on that last play a little bit and has been a little bit gimpy. And if you're Northwestern, what you want to do on this third down, if you have a pass play, you want to isolate him. Now he's going to be in the middle, so they're going to protect him a little bit.
They're 0 for 4 on third down. That's unusual. Each of the last 5 years, they've been in the top 30 in the country in third down conversion percentage. And they are again this year. Just a 4-man rush. Coulter's ball is caught for a first down by Vitale, who did a great job to hang on as he got smothered by Michael Caputo.
Athletes are able to switch their hips and make an adjustment to the ball, just like Vitale did, catching the ball with his hands and securing it with strong hands, because he's taking a good shot by Caputo coming from his nickel back position.
That'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Wisconsin leads 7-3 on a 63-yard touchdown catch by Aberderis. Both teams have made some mistakes. That's the highlight of the quarter. Really the only highlight for Aberderis, responsible for 2 turnovers as well. We're back at Camp Randall Stadium, Madison, Wisconsin, on a gorgeous mid-October day. 70 degrees, hardly a cloud in the sky. We did have a couple of showers here this morning. Homecoming, a sellout crowd in attendance as Wisconsin battles Northwestern. Big Ten matchup. They're not in the same division. They haven't played since 2010. Kane Coulter, the first play of the second quarter, keeps and gets a yard. That's the 7th tackle already for Chris Borland, and he has a sack to go along with it. He had a career high 16 in their last game 2 weeks ago at Ohio State.
Sean, people get caught up in the numbers and the measurables. He's probably 5'10", 240. He's built strong, he plays with great leverage, and he has great instincts and quickness. And the most important stat he brings is production. Week in and week out, he produces.
He is a tremendous athlete. They're showing blitz. There was movement. Michael Caputo showing blitz in the
Ball
left
start.
tackle move.
Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jack Konopka was their starting right tackle last season. He and the center, Brandon Vitale, are the only returning starters from a year ago on that offensive line for Coach Fitzgerald.
That offensive line historically is known as being tough guys, though. They always get guys that fit their system, and they'll brawl you just like a Wisconsin offensive line.
Coach Fitzgerald said Vitale, the center, needs to get his mustache on Borland a lot today. Coulter, there's what he brings. Ooh, and Borland hit him up high as Caputo had him down low.
Again, it's the ability to adjust and burst and explode into people. Right here, Caputo low, and watch Borland. Keeps his head up and he brings his feet. And you see when he goes to the ground, he never stays on the ground. He bounces up like the ground's fire every single time.
Everybody standing up on that Wisconsin defense. Coulter on third down and 7. Being chased by Ethan Armstrong, who gets him on the turf back at the 25-yard line.
One of the question marks coming in was the back end of the secondary of Wisconsin. This is a coverage sack. Ethan Armstrong is disciplined not to go inside, understanding that he has contained the outside part of the field. He's also a very good athlete with the speed to close and finish on Coulter.
Brandon Williams to punt again. Another sack for Wisconsin. Williams gets the punt off, and that's a good one. Denzel Doe, fair catch while backpedaling inside the 25-yard line. 7-3 Badgers. They'll have the ball when we come back to Madison.
Sean.
All right, Robert, thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to Madison, Wisconsin. Badgers leading the Northwestern Wildcats 7-3, opening minutes of the second quarter. Joel Stabby under center. James White is the running back for Wisconsin, with 2 tight ends in the game. Stabby, quick throw. Jordan Frederick able to hang on there without Jared Aberderis for the moment. Earlier we saw him run into the locker room. Didn't appear to be in any pain, but apparently hasn't come back yet. Is that a catch? It was a close call. If it stands, it's just the 7th of the year. Jordan Frederick. Here comes Abradaris back out of the locker room. You would think if he's fine and able to continue on, he'd be in a little more hurry to get back to the sideline. I formation. White on the block of Derek Watt, the fullback. Dean Lowry made the tackle. Gain to the 41, a pickup of 5. 2nd and 5 for Wisconsin. They haven't been able to run the ball so far today.
Well, you look at their mentality, though, they don't mind that because they're going to stay with it. And eventually they feel like they will wear a defense down by keep pounding the football. Watt with the lead block there. Coach Ludwig called him kind of an unsung hero. Does the dirty work.
White remains the back. He's across midfield. Jimmy Hall made the tackle. First down.
Sean, we talk about the ability to make people miss when you're one-on-one. Dwight White's going to miss the tackle as James White throws a little shake and bake and is able to get extra yards. But that's what the Wisconsin backs have to do better, in my opinion. And so far, they're making the open guy miss and getting extra yards.
The threat again of the fly sweep or the jet sweep with Gordon. Some of those defenders were paying attention to him going across the formation. He gets the call now. And they do wear you down, and then they pop some big runs. This is not 3 yards in a cloud of dust to get their 300 yards a game. Wisconsin for the year leads the nation in runs of 50 yards or more. They've had 6 of them. 60 yards or more. They've had 5 of them. Stabby after the play fake. Catch made. Jeff Duckworth, his 4th catch of the season, but another ball with a receiver wide open. If it hits him in stride, he can turn and get more yardage.
Well, again, he has a nice throwing lane right there, and Duckworth has to go down to get it, where if he catches it, as you said, on target, he can take a big gain and turn it into a bigger gain by taking the catch and turn it into a run. Got to work for that ball. You shouldn't have to work to catch it.
On 1st and 10, another play action pass. James White the catch to the 19. That's a gain of 5. Here's Shannon.
Well, guys, Jared Abradaris spent about 5 minutes on the bench before he went into the locker room with one of the doctors. He is back out here. Helmet is not in hand. The team is telling me he has a head injury and he is done for the day. This is a huge hit to this team.
Well, it is, but it's another chance for other guys to step up. And right now, Frederick has a catch, and then Duckworth with the long catch. So they can grow as a football team because they're not going to rely on Abradaris to be the only guy to catch the football.
They do have the deep tight end group. You wonder if we'll see more formations with multiple tight ends. James White inside the 17-yard line. Will Hampton tripped him up for Northwestern. Really, Abradaris, their only big-time playmaker at wide receiver. We mentioned earlier he had 33 catches to start the day. The next highest total among the wide receivers was 6 for Jordan Frederick. And they're looking for somebody else to step up. At this point in the season, nobody has. Today, they have to.
Talked about seeing those tight ends. They got a lot of tight ends in the ball game right now. 3 of them.
Including Arneson, number 49, who shifted out wide to the right and then back to attach to the line. Melvin Gordon close to the first down at the 14-yard line. Jimmy Hall, Chichi Araguzzo in on the stop. It is a first down for the Badgers with 9 minutes to go in the half.
They ran right to those 3 tight ends, Sean. They lined 2 of them up. They brought Pedersen in motion trying to outflank. Northwestern reacted well, but they only needed a yard, and their physical was able to get.
Stabby come off the field, and here's James White now lined up in the Wildcat.
Ball start. Offense, number 48. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jacob Pedersen, one of the tight ends.
No surprise right there. They worked on this in practice on Thursday, this formation. And a lot of times when you come in and change anybody that's a signal caller or called in a cadence, a lot of times people aren't used to it and they'll jump.
Stabby back in. The first accepted penalty against Wisconsin. Stabby's been outstanding this year in the red zone. 71% completions without an interception. 5 touchdown passes. That's on target. Melvin Gordon to catch. That's his first reception of the year. James White is the pass receiver out of the backfield. Dwight White made the tackle. Gordon had just 2 catches last year. It's his 3rd career catch.
And that's Coach Ludwig getting creative. I mean, you don't have Aberdare, so let's put Gordon out there, let him get in space and work one-on-one. It's a nice adjustment by that whole Wisconsin offensive staff.
They have one of the best in the business coordinating the offense, and Andy Ludwig. Stabby takes the check down. James White inside the 5 and down at the 1-yard line, where it'll be 1st and goal. Jimmy Hall, the safety, another tackle with help from Damian Proby, a gain of 13.
And that's the difference that you and I were talking about. What do we have there? An accurate throw, so he didn't have to work to catch the ball. So he's getting it right in his chest and right in a running position. Right here, Pedersen's going to sit down. Stabby looks to James White, and he does not have to work, so he can get that transition a lot quicker.
White is the tailback. 3 tight ends in the game. Derek Watt, the fullback, leading the way for the White touchdown. 37th career rushing touchdown for the senior from Fort Lauderdale, leading all active FBS players.
What a job by Havenstein and Watt, pancaking their guy 5 yards in the end zone. Sean, I'll tell you, it's pretty easy to score if they're driving the defense 5 yards into the red.
Kyle French on for the extra point. And even without Abradaris, the Badgers still march 75 yards in 11 plays.
ABC College Football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Brought to you by Arby's. Try the new Smokehouse Brisket Sandwich today. And the 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
Yesterday, members of the Wisconsin football team paying a visit to children at the American Family Children's Hospital here in Madison. The University of Wisconsin, obviously a huge part of this community. The state capital, folks love the Badgers, and you get the sense that the athletes on this campus, Chris, appreciate how much they mean to the people who live here, and they're very actively involved in their community.
Yeah, and like so many coaches, and Coach Anderson emphasizes community service, and what a difference those young men make in those children's lives. It's fun to see.
Andrew Endicott kicks off. Stephen Buckley tripped up shy of the 15-yard line. Great coverage by Vince Beagle. Here's Shannon.
Well, guys, we saw Venric Mark go off the field earlier in the game. The trainer just told me that he's getting x-rays on his ankle. They do have an x-ray facility here at the stadium, so that's where he is right now. They haven't ruled him out. We'll obviously follow the story, but right now he is getting some x-rays for an ankle.
There's Kane Coulter at quarterback now. Senior from Denver, Colorado. Actually switches out to wide receiver. And Simeon is the quarterback. They did this a lot last week against Ohio State. Simeon running out of time. Flag thrown where you would expect a hold, and they still get him behind the line of scrimmage. Connor O'Neill, one of the linebackers, senior from Delray Beach, Florida. And it is a holding call against Northwestern.
What we were seeing, Sean, might be a product of the loss of Venric Mark, about getting athletes on the field, and Coulter's an explosive player, so you want to try to get both on the field at the same time. And just like Wisconsin had to adjust offensively.
Offense, number 66. Penalties decline, 2nd down.
The Wildcats have to adjust offensively, and that could be one of the adjustments that we see as we move forward into this ball game.
And Vitale, the fine center, called for the hold. So it's the third sack for Wisconsin. With the new staff, Dave Aranda as the defensive coordinator, came with Coach Anderson from Utah State. They want to play an attacking style of defense, but prior to today hadn't come up with sacks and turnovers. Been much better in that regard today. That'll make Coach Aranda and the staff very happy. Trayvon Green on the right hip of Simeon. Another flag thrown. He's sacked again. This time by Vince Beagle, who's had a terrific first half for Wisconsin.
One of the problems that Simeon has, and Wisconsin felt they could exploit this.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. Penalties decline. Third down.
Is the fact that he holds on to the football, and that's the second one in a row of Vitale. But right here, this isn't bad protection, even with the hold, but he does hold on to the football. Sometimes you got to realize, just throw it away and live to fight another down.
Ball back at the 9-yard line. Third down and 15. And everybody standing up on that Wisconsin defense. And they bring a blitz. Time for Simeon this time, and his throw too long. In the direction of Dan Vitale. This will be the 5th punt of the half for Brandon Williams and Northwestern.
And if you have a block, if you're Wisconsin, now's the time to run it. This is very similar to last week with Bradley DeRoby for Ohio State. Blocked the punt. Same type of area. You want to see if they got that problem fixed.
Set up a return. And it's another short punt. Fair catch made by Denzel Doe near the 48-yard line. Back at Camp Randall Stadium.
Aflac.
Time for the Aflac trivia question. Wisconsin has appeared in the last 3 Rose Bowl games. What was the last Big Ten school to appear in 4 straight Rose Bowl games?
Go back a ways for that one.
From the 47, after a 38-yard punt by Brandon Williams of Northwestern. Stabby a play fake, pressured immediately by the blitz, shows that he can run as well. Joel Stabby, nicely done. Inside the 40. He is an engineering major. Araguzzo chased him out, and Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, says he is super smart, and this was a very smart move.
It was, and he still keeps his eyes downfield till the very last second, but he's a good enough athlete to keep those chains moving, or at least get positive yards and not making a silly throw.
9-yard gain. 1 yard short of his longest run of the year. Melvin Gordon, the running back. Then playing without Jared Abradaris. Extra tight ends in the game. Gordon breaks through. Bounces off the hit from Campbell. Jimmy Hall finally got him down with help from Colin Ellis. It's at the 23-yard line. First down, Wisconsin, after a 15-yard run.
Sean, it's such a luxury to have a center, number 73, be able to pull, because you can down block and he becomes the lead blocker. And at 322 pounds, when he can pull, that's an athlete clearing the way for Melvin Gordon.
The center, Dallas Llewellyn, did not play last week at Ohio State. That hurt them. Had a leg injury. Gordon for 3. Here's Robert Flores.
Kickoff under 20 minutes away.
All right, Robert, thank you. 2nd and 7 here. Stabby's pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Looked like Dean Lowry got a hand on it. One of the defensive ends for Coach Fitzgerald, and they do that a lot. One of the reasons they have a bunch of takeaways, they tip a lot of balls to the line of scrimmage.
Well, again, and that's being a smart football player. If you're getting blocked on the pass rush, you try to peek at the quarterback, and then if you see him looking your way, you try to get in throwing lanes and get those big hands up.
3rd down and 7. James White goes in motion. Joel Stabby out of the gun, and Pat Fitzgerald wanted a timeout, ran down to the 20-yard line.
Northwestern, first of the half. For the full charge, timeout.
With 4:07 to go until halftime here in Madison. Back in Madison, time to answer today's Aflac trivia question. Wisconsin's been to the last 3 Rose Bowl games. What was the last Big Ten school to appear in 4 straight? You want to guess?
I'll be a homer and say Ohio State.
Wow, you just get it right every week, but it was a long time ago, mid-70s, even before you played.
It's Archie Griffin time. I knew that.
Which, by the way, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Buckeye legend Chris Spielman, 48 yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Left my card in the store, sorry. Stabby throws to the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Kenzel Doe. He was well covered by Jimmy Hall, and the field goal team comes out for Wisconsin.
Yeah, and this is where Joel, if he has it back, he's going to throw to that back pylon. He underthrows a little bit. Why? Because Doe was behind his man Hall. He's got to throw that long so only his guy can get it. Underthrew that one. Good stop for the Wildcats, so at least to hold him to a field goal attempt.
Throw it deep because, as you might say, Doe runs like a deer. 38-yard attempt for Kyle French. They've been inconsistent in the field goal game this season, and that one's hooked. And it has become a problem now for Wisconsin. French missed a shorty of 32 yards last week at Ohio State in that 7-point loss.
Mechanics look good, and a lot of times when guys pull a kick as they try to overkick it, he's missed right, and that's another almost. And I'm telling you, Sean, these are plays that in this type of ball game, you kind of get the feel that it's going to come down to those points that are lost on the field.
French is now just 5 out of 8 in field goals. And his understudy has missed a field goal this year as well. And 5 out of 9 as a team. In this day and age, kickers are so good and so accurate. That is not good at all. Trevor Siemian takes the shotgun snap. And the catch made by Rashad Lawrence, who'd had a very quiet start to the year. But then came to life last week with 8 catches for 149 yards against Ohio State. He had 3 catches all year going into that game. Gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Siemian again to Lawrence, and this time incomplete. Darius Hillary there to try to break it up for Wisconsin. 3rd and 5, and the Cats are just 1 out of 7 on 3rd down. They came in 49% for the year.
If it holds true, we're expecting the Badger defense to bring some type of pressure. That means more than 4 guys bringing 5 to put pressure on Siemian.
And Coulter's not on the field here as a wide receiver on 3rd down and 5. Siemian throws. Good catch by Dan Vitale, the superback, at the 34-yard line. 1st down, and the Cats will go quickly to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and he hangs in here tough, knowing that he's going to take a shot from number 97. Kelly delivered a ball that was catchable for Vitale.
Here comes a blitz from Wisconsin. Siemian steps through it and slides down at the 40-yard line. Ethan Armstrong nearest.
Little hidden thing right there. Trumpy did a great job of picking up the blitz, allow Siemian to scramble for 6.
Yeah, this pass is dropped by Rashad Lawrence, who would have had a 1st down had he been able to hold on. I admire the honesty of Trevor Siemian. We spoke with him the other day. We asked him, how'd you choose Northwestern? He said, well, I chose it because it was the best school I could get into, and I never would have been able to get in there if it was not for the help from football. Like so many of these football players, taking advantage of an opportunity at one of the great academic institutions in America. And it's a football program with the best graduation rate, APR, in the country the last few years.
I'm sure he's doing just fine because he's a hard worker.
He is. Coulter's in at wide receiver now. 3rd down and 4 from their own 40. And a high throw. Too hot to handle. Intended for Kane Coulter. Here's Dave Aranda. The defensive coordinator has to be much happier with the way that they've played today.
He should. And this is Coulter playing quarterback, trying to play wide receiver, because he does not have good footing coming out of that break, where he doesn't settle it down and get his feet underneath him. Causes him to stumble in the overthrow.
Brandon Williams, another low line drive punt, his 6th punt of the day. He's downed at the 22 by C.J. Bryant. Here's a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Just 113 yards of offense for Northwestern, which came in averaging 474 yards per game. Wisconsin leading heavily on the pass today, 63 yards of that 148 on the touchdown scored by Aberderis, who left the game not long after with a concussion apparently.
The big thing there was 4 sacks coming into the game, 7 on the year, and creating pressure. Good job by Coach Hernanda.
They were 96th in the country in sacks as a defense. The Badgers entering today. Pedersen, the tight end, out of bounds near side 29-yard line, 3 yards short of a first down. 2 timeouts left for each team with 2:36 to go in the half.
He's such an important addition to this football team because tight ends occupy safeties and linebackers. That's why they were excited to have him back, because that would create room for Aberderis. Now Aberderis is out. It's a chance for another young wide receiver for the Badgers to step up and play.
They hand it off to Gordon. He may go. Ibrahim Campbell has the angle. Touchdown.
Creating matchup, tight end, tight end. Good blockers on the secondary. Here comes Melvin Gordon on the fly sweep. Watch the execution of this play. Perfect handoff in full speed. And you see the tight end's able to get a hat on a hat. Duckworth gets it away just enough. You see Melvin Gordon, and one thing he brings to this table is the speed to finish.
You know, we talked to Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator for Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald. They both talked about that play. That was one of their biggest concerns.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Stopping Gordon, the fly sweeps, the jet sweeps. If it stands, it's a 71-yard run, and it would be their national leading 5th run of 70 yards or more for Wisconsin. Was the knee down just before the ball got to the end zone. It looked like it might have been. Yeah, I think he's just shy of the end zone with the ball from there. A little bit off the angle, though. Not sure it would be conclusive. He's down, still lunging for the goal line.
You know, it looks like it's going to go on that yard line that's never marked, the half-yard line. The left knee seems to be down right there, just short. But the way they ran that last goal line play, I don't think they'll have a problem pounding it in there. They drove the Wildcat defenders 5 yards into the end zone. That
left knee down there. It looks from that angle like he is a little bit short of the plane of the end zone. They are remarkably explosive with those long runs. And particularly Gordon. Jerry McGinn on the headset. Steve Beckman is the replay official.
Don't forget, now that's also setting something up later. The fake fly sweep. Then you have a lot of things
further
going off
review,
of it.
the ruling on the field stands.
I think the reason why, Chris, it just wasn't conclusive. I mean, if you had to bet, I would say, would you, that short looked like he was a little bit short, but I don't think it was clear beyond a reasonable doubt there. Indisputable. So it's another long touchdown run. So here's Jack Russell. We mentioned that French has had some problems this year. Jack Russell's 0 for 1 in field goals, comes on to kick the extra point. And it is good. And all of a sudden, one play, Wisconsin's rushing totaled up to 133 for the game. Tonight on ESPN's college football primetime, Johnny Manziel and 9th-ranked Texas A&M taking on Ole Miss. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. That's at 8:30 tonight on ESPN. You can also watch it live, of course, on Watch ESPN.
If Ole Miss can find their offense and A&M can find their defense, and we'll have a pretty good game.
21 unanswered points for the Badgers. Andrew Endicott kicks off. Matthew Harris, true freshman. Great speed. He's down at the 21. Just 3 points on the board for Northwestern, and a big reason why that man.
Well, his center of gravity, Sean, is so low to the ground, so he plays with great balance and great burst. And he has one of those guys that when they hit you, they have good timing and they get everything behind the hip. And the thing I love about it, Sean, he keeps his face up and he tackles with his eyes. He sees what he hits and he hits what he sees.
Trevor Simeon, the quarterback for Northwestern. Trayvon Green to his right. Still no Venrick Mark. And the pass incomplete. A little too hot to handle for Tony Jones.
He's off. I mean, Simeon's off. That's normally an easy throw and an easy catch. And that's twice he's missed on that little out cut.
And he's just 5 for 15. As a tandem, Simeon and Coulter came into today completing 72.3% of their passes for the year. Best in the Big Ten and 4th in the country, behind only Boise State, East Carolina, and Troy. They've been very accurate before today. In trouble! Simeon dumped on a blitz by Nate Hammond. Redshirt freshman with the 5th sack of the day for Wisconsin. They had only 7 all year prior to today.
And Borland's going to take up a blocker. And watch number 22, Green. He misses his block. We saw Trumpy pick up the blitz. Green didn't pick up the blitz. That's why he's slapping his hands in frustration. Hammond did a good job of avoiding and finishing. And Borland took his job by taking the center out of the play.
And a timeout called by Wisconsin. With 3rd and very long coming up for Northwestern. 1:37 left. They want the ball back in good field position. Mentioned these two teams are not in the same division of the Big Ten. Northwestern's in the legends and Wisconsin in the leaders. Northwestern hoping for another shot at Ohio State down the road in the Big Ten championship game. But a loss today would put them in huge trouble with an eye toward that goal. And if Wisconsin's going to win its division, having lost already head-to-head to Ohio State, you wonder if they can afford another conference loss.
You know, you look at that Legends division, Michigan State's quietly getting better because they're getting some stability at the quarterback position of Connor Cook.
Simeon's the quarterback. He's 5 for 15 for 39 yards. Again, everybody standing up on the defense. And a very conservative handoff to Stephen Buckley. He stopped about 11 yards short of a first down, and you would think the Badgers, and they do, would use their last time out of the half. There's Dave Aranda. He was with Coach Anderson last year at Utah State. Prior to that, he had been at Hawaii with Greg McMackin as the defensive coordinator. And when he was the defensive coordinator there in 2010, they led the nation in takeaways. The defense scored 5 touchdowns. That's the way he wants to play, aggressive, attacking, and that's what they've done today.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job of adjusting to the personnel, and again, moving Caputo to linebacker / nickel allows him to have more versatility in what he calls. Coach Aranda was a GA, went to Texas Tech with McMackin and didn't leave. He wouldn't leave. He pestered him.
Went to kind of hang around and said, well, you might as well stay since you're not leaving anyway. We'll find something for you to do.
What a bright guy to be able to do that.
He was very impressive at our meetings yesterday, for sure. Brandon Williams punts. Kenzel Doe in traffic. Managed a 1-yard return to the 44. Good field position with 1.5 minutes to go. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson are still running 1 and 2 in the chase. Kevin Harvick won last week. Jeff Gordon finished 3rd. Things are tightening up. So who'll make the move tonight in Charlotte? The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues. The Bank of America 500 at Charlotte tonight at 7 on ABC.
Yeah, it used to be known as the house that Jimmy built, and I don't see anybody making a move unless Fireball Roberts comes out of retirement.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's just when you think it can't get any worse with your weekly dose of NASCAR lack of knowledge, it does. Joel Stabby dumps it off over the middle, and James White has a first down to the 45-yard line of Northwestern. Chichi Araguzzo made the tackle, 11-yard gain. Stabby out of the gun. Has his man Jordan Frederick. And that's 10 more. Looks like they'll mark it just short of the first down. It's about 9.5. And the clock is running down to 1 minute to go. No timeouts. And again, a shaky field goal situation right now for the Badgers too. Stabby, interception. Tried to force it down the field to Kenzel Doe, and it was picked off by Jimmy Hall. Well, it looked like he had White wide open again out of the backfield, but got a little bit greedier and threw the second interception of the day. First one wasn't his fault, but this one was, it seemed.
Again, Sean, he's got to read the receiver in relation to the safety. He's behind him, and the safety is underneath. You got to throw the ball over the top where he only gets it, and Hall comes in and jumps and makes the play.
Third turnover, 2 interceptions, the lost fumble by Aberderis. 2 timeouts left for Northwestern. See how they elect to play with Simeon at quarterback and Kane Coulter, the receiver nearest to him to the left. Borland comes on a blitz and almost got there. And the catch made by Christian Jones. Short gain for the junior from Houston.
A little surprised that Northwestern with the field position is trying to take some shots, and Borland is very dangerous coming off the edge because of his leverage and speed, which puts fear in offensive tackles.
Rushing the passer, really just holding his ground there now, and a ball thrown deep and caught. Rashad Lawrence. He's in field goal range at the very least. Ripped out of bounds by Sojourn Shelton. Big gainer and much needed for Northwestern.
Like I said, I'm not surprised that Northwestern is trying to move the ball down the field. You have a young corner out there not understanding the situation, was not deep as the deepest. Simeon was able to exploit it.
Previous 9 possessions, Northwestern had not crossed midfield. That's a 48-yard gain. 4-man rush. Simeon dropped. Threw it to Tony Jones, incomplete. Inside the 15-yard line.
In a bad throw. In a bad throw because he was wide open. He didn't have to throw him open. He had to get it in the area for Tony Jones. And he had a lot of space to work after he caught that ball. If the throw would have been on target.
Be about a 50-yard field goal from here. Bud Zine is an excellent kicker. As we mentioned, the Big Ten Kicker of the Year last year. Simeon could not afford to take a sack. That stand-up defense again. Throws it quickly. And it is a catch by Kyle Prater, his second of the day. Did he have possession, and was he in bounds?
Got 2 in for good measure. Again, but a poorly thrown ball. I mean, you should not have to work that hard on a 5-yard out. He's got to find his rhythm.
7-yard gain. 2 timeouts for Northwestern. Again, everybody standing along that defensive front for Wisconsin. Simeon pressured, throws, incomplete. Intended for Cameron Dickerson. Chikari Washington, a true freshman, had coverage. It'll be 4th down. The field goal unit comes on.
I think Dickerson stops right here. In the face of pressure, Simeon delivers a nice ball, but you see him kind of hesitate, which threw the timing of the pass off.
I wonder if some of the players are having a hard time seeing the ball. As we mentioned, in that direction, they're looking back into the sun. Now there are shadows in some parts of the field. There's Bud Zine. 1 for 1 today from 27. This is a 43-yarder. Needs a slice, and he got it. With 12 seconds to go in the half. Jeff Budzine, Wisconsin native, has them within 15. And that's big. Big turnaround. It's only 3 points, but it looked like Wisconsin, Chris, was poised to score again, and then Stabby made the big mistake on the interception.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you got a chance to finish guys or knock those wind out of their sails before the half. You got to pound them. And credit to Pat Fitzgerald. I'm usually a guy that go for it, go for it, go for it. And I said, well, maybe you want to take it easy. Sure enough, they hit a big one down the sidelines to get him in position to score a field goal. But they're aggressive. He's an aggressive coach. And that's a momentum changer leading into the second half. Now the plan is who comes out with the better halftime adjustments. Both guys are very good at making them.
Shades of the last game for Gary Anderson and the Badgers. 2 weeks ago, they were off last week at Ohio State. They dropped an interception just before the half, and on the very next play, Ohio State threw a 40-yard touchdown pass with 2 seconds left in the half.
That was a mistake similar to the one made here. The defensive back was not deep as the deepest. In that situation, you have to play off and let them have the little dump downs.
Ball blew off the tee. So Bud Zine, after his longest field goal of the year, will kick it off to Kenzel Doe. Zuliger fielded it. He's yanked down just shy of the 20. Here's a look back to the last game for Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. Braxton Miller in the final seconds throws a ball that should have been intercepted by Sojourn Shelton. He dropped it. And on the very next play, Miller and the Buckeyes made them pay. And as you said, that's horrible coverage in the circumstances. Corey Brown, the 40-yard catch.
It was Desmond Southward, number 12. Is to get over, read the quarterback's eyes, and get deep as the deepest. Get another mistake. And Coach Aranda will have to go in and correct.
Staubby takes a knee, and that'll end the half. Without Jared Aberderis, I think Wisconsin has to be pretty pleased with a 15-point lead, even despite the way the half ended. Wisconsin will get the opening kickoff of the second half. 308 yards of offense for Wisconsin. Here's Shannon.
Coach Fenric Mark has been on the sideline. He's got a brace on his ankle. What is his status for the second half?
I'll go get some information here at halftime, but we've got to just execute better. Self-inflicted wounds on both sides. It's unacceptable. We got to come out here. It's a 2-score game. We're right back in the game. Nice drive to the finish here, but we got to play better. We got to go coach our guys better.
You were really animated with your guys just moments ago. What did you say to them?
Let's go play our style of ball. I mean, we're not throwing, we're not catching. We got a communication issue to give an explosion run. We end up not doing our job in the explosion pass. So the rest of the game, it's 0-0. So I'm looking forward to the next 30 minutes because the first 30 minutes stunk. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Sean, Chris.
Love it. Honesty.
Yes, and polite, even when he's clearly
Thank you.
agitated. 21-6. Stay tuned for the halftime report right after these messages. We welcome you back to Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. Halftime. The Badgers leading Northwestern 21-6. 308 yards of offense for Wisconsin. They had two very big plays, a couple of long touchdowns, a pass from Joel Staubby to Jared Aberderis, the long touchdown run of 71 yards by Melvin Gordon. It wasn't a very good half for Northwestern. I think if you're a Wildcat fan, Chris, it really could have been a lot worse for them. What did they need to do to get this turned around in the second half?
Well, that's not the Northwestern team that I watched on film, and I agree with Coach Fitzgerald. They stunk the first half. They're better than that. And for me, you got to maybe get Kane Coulter back at quarterback to get him in the rhythm. Simeon wasn't in his rhythm. They missed a lot of opportunities, and they have to stop giving up the big plays on defense. 2 of the 3 touchdowns were 71-yarder, then the long pass to Aberderis. Wisconsin, stop turning the ball over, pound the ball on the ground. You can control this ball game.
Gary Anderson's Badgers had 5 sacks while they were on defense from 5 different players. Big reason why Northwestern scuffled on offense. Wisconsin received the second half kickoff from Jeff Budzine. Kenzel Doe won't do it. Here's our Pacific Life game summary. A big first half for the man Gary Anderson calls the best linebacker in the country, Chris Borland.
I think he is, Sean. I think he makes a lot of plays. He's versatile. Then they're losing Abradaris. He got concussed, we think, in the first half, but he made a big play before his exit. Then, of course, the ever-explosive Melvin Gordon popping one for 71.
Been a big play offense all season long. Joel Stabby, the quarterback, 12 for 19 for 175. One touchdown, 2 interceptions. Comes out slinging, deflected and incomplete in the direction of Jeff Duckworth. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, it seems Pat Fitzgerald wasn't the only coach using some eloquent words going into the half. Coach Gary Anderson told me that most of the stuff he said in there, he couldn't tell me what he said, but he did say he was happy with defense. He was not happy with the offensive performance. He said too many mental mistakes. We can't turn the ball over. And guys, there will be a personnel change. Jack Russell will now be your field goal kicker in the second half.
I think he's referring to the penalties and the missed opportunities. They left a lot of points on the field.
The turnover's the big problem. 3 of them. Quick hitter, James White. First down, just shy of the 40-yard line. Ibrahim Campbell made the tackle.
There's so many ways to attack you up front. And again, when you get movement, and Havenstein, number 78, is able to turn his guy out to create running lanes for James White, who has a nice little burst and runs with a little bit more power. Something I didn't see last week from the Wisconsin defensive backs 2 weeks ago, I'm seeing today where they're running through tackles.
It's just about their average for the year. 7.4 per rush today. It helps when you pop one for more than 70. There's Melvin Gordon back in. He gets 12. They came into the ball game averaging 7.4 yards per carry, and that's best in the country, just ahead of Oregon, 7.1 per rush. And that offensive line trying to take advantage of a pretty considerable size advantage up front.
And they're doing so. Where Northwestern was hurt against Ohio State was they weren't attacking, and those big bodies lean on those defensive linemen, and what they're doing is pushing them into the linebackers, cutting them off from making plays.
Gordon did well to get across the line of scrimmage. Travion Henry, the safety, made the tackle. Must be a smart family. He's at Northwestern, a great school, and his brother Travis plays at Yale.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Listen, we're not used to seeing this. Teams huddling up, taking their time. 2 backs, 3 tights. What's going on?
I think particularly without Abradaris. They like long ball control drives here. Tough run by Gordon to the 40 without Jared Abradaris. They have nobody who really has established himself as a threat as a wide receiver.
Yeah, and nobody runs the power play like Wisconsin. That's when the backside guard pulls around and becomes a lead blocker. And again, when you're getting 7, 8 yards a pop, you don't need to throw the football. You're controlling the clock, and you're taking the will of Northwestern.
When their approach, Andy Ludwig said, run the ball, then use the play action pass to throw deep strikes. That's what's worked for them a lot of year, including today, when they hit that deep pass to Abradaris. Melvin Gordon gets the first down. They are balanced. They started the day to the Badgers with more than
to the 2 offensive linemen in the backfield, which everybody knows it. He slanted down there and beat Pedersen to make a TFL.
He did 9 sacks a year ago. As you saw him, the graphic leading the conference this year. Watt was lined up as a fullback, shifted out to the right. James White, the running back, 3rd and goal from the 2. Stabby throws, touchdown, Wisconsin. Jacob Pedersen. Very impressive drive to begin the second half for the Badgers.
A nice little scheme right there. We're going to show you a little bit later on how they hid Pedersen to get him open.
Jack Russell, the new kicker, as Shannon said, on for the extra point. Officially a 1-yard touchdown pass. Stave to Pedersen. His second touchdown catch of the year. 10 plays, 75 yards. Great start to the half for Wisconsin. But Wisconsin, in terms of the numbers and the size of them.
They got quite a tradition of tight ends here, too.
They sure do. Here's Matthew Harris, the freshman. Bringing back Andrew Endicott's kickoff. And into Leon Jacobs at the 22. Here's Robert Flores back in the studio. All right, Robert, thank you very much. Northwestern needs to get it going and needs to do it quickly. They start with Trevor Siemian.
Need to throw some short passes, Sean, to get him a little bit of rhythm and get him a feel for the game. It's been off.
Siemian throws incomplete, looking for Rashad Lawrence. Coach Fitzgerald thought he was being interfered with. So, Chris, if you take out the beginning game of the year at Cal, when Coulter was injured very early in the game, Coulter has taken about 2/3 of the snaps at quarterback for the year. But not today, and you think it's now because they're behind by so much, they think they just need to rely more heavily on the downfield throwing game?
Well, I think it's by feel, and I'm feeling Coulter, and McCall's feeling Siemian, but I think this guy should be playing back here, not out here. That's Coulter. The Siemian doesn't have it right now.
He's 8 for 21, and his pass is batted down. Brendan Kelly, outside linebacker, senior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota.
Well, this is the pass rush specialist, Beagle and Kelly. You're going to see number 97 coming from the stand-up position. And again, it's just a little bit of a stunt where they have two guys coming as a screen, and the offensive guard cannot pick him up, Ian Park, and Kelly does a good job of getting that big, tall arm in the way of the throwing lane.
Northwestern now 1 for 10 passing on 3rd down. And as a result for the game, they're 2 for 12 on 3rd down. Denzel Go, the fair catch, sort of.
ABC College Football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Brought to you by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado, Windows, and DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Let's look inside the new University of Wisconsin-Madison driving simulation laboratory. It's in the mechanical engineering building. Simulator helps test new vehicle technologies, helps evaluate driving behavior in an effort to provide safer vehicles and roads all over the world.
I trained for my NASCAR knowledge.
Will Hampton a little early across the line.
Offside. Defense, number 92. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I get the feeling that they're having a hangover from last week. I think they're so disappointed. They were talking about being angry all week. Well, quite frankly, to me, it looks like they're letting it affect how they're playing today. They cannot match even the energy of Wisconsin. When you're on the road, you better have energy, or this is what happens.
When we talked to Pat Fitzgerald, and again, they're playing without Venrick Mark, some of his other coaches and players, they said they thought the team had put Ohio State behind them, practiced well during the week. They have a history of bouncing back from losses, as they did every time they lost last year. James White carries for first down. Northwestern did come out, it seemed, with some energy, scored first on a field goal, but since then, they've really been dominated by Wisconsin. Well,
you know, I've been in a position, Sean, where teams just cramming the ball down your throat, and it really does demoralize you. And as a defense, as a linebacker, or as a head coach, as a former linebacker, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a timeout and calling and challenging these guys. They're shoving it down your throat. Now, what are you going to do to answer?
Stabby throws quickly to Jeff Duckworth. Across the boundary of the 37-yard line, Matt Harris made the tackle. You have to, again, be so impressed with the play calling here of Andy Ludwig. Out many weapons at the wide receiver position with Aberderis done for the day. Finding other ways to move the football, still mixing in the pass with the run. Balanced again today, 182 yards rushing, 217 passing. Here's Andy in his first year at Wisconsin.
To the left. You think about it, it's such a luxury when you know that you can always count on pounding the football. Then in his mind, he can pick and choose when he takes shots down the field. Then you have the play action working, which in my opinion, as you see Kane Coulter going off the field, in my opinion, you should not be fooled by play action against this team because their offensive tackles stand straight up. They give it away every time.
As they did there. Bobby got it off, incomplete for Jordan Frederick. We mentioned Andy Ludwig's in his first season here. He hopes he's here for a while. Here's the guy who's kind of your typical coach. This is his 19th year as an offensive coordinator in college football at his 8th different school. 26 years of college coaching at 11 different schools, never in one place for more than 4 years. He said he and his family would really like to put down some roots and settle in here in a great community like Madison.
Says something about the strength of a marriage and a strong woman that usually is involved and married to a coach because of that exact reason.
How about Chris Borland down there covering the punts?
Does it all.
Downed it at the 9-yard line.
Coach Anderson said, you know, he'd probably be our best player at a lot of positions.
Well, he came up here when he was in high school, and he wasn't really considered a prospect. He came to the camp. He wanted to go to Wisconsin, even though he's from Ohio. And he impressed Brett Bielema, the coach at the time, and his staff because he could do so many things. He could kick, he could punt, he'd play running back, wide receiver. They finally noticed him when he started kicking and punting in addition to everything else that he was doing at the camp. Started to come on a blitz, then held his ground. Simeon lost the ball. Hit as it looked like he was trying to tuck it away. Pat Muldoon got a piece of him, and the Cats get the ball back just inside the 5-yard line.
Well, that's something that Wisconsin has not had, is the ability to get pressure with 3 or 4, and Muldoon does a good job. And I like the awareness of not to go for a kill shot, but if you're not going to get there, be able to attack that arm. You see that? The awareness of reaching with that left arm to get into the arm throwing lane of Simeon. Excellent technique by Muldoon.
We're credited that as the 6th sack of the day. Simeon throws short, looking for some run after the catch by Tony Jones, who's battling. Got within a yard of that first down. 7 minutes to go in the third. Here's Shannon.
Well, Sean, the injury updates keep coming in this game. Kane Coulter, you saw him going back into the locker room. The trainer told me they're taking him back there to take another look at that ankle. I did watch him up and down the sidelines, though. He's really been in some pain. He's been trying to do some runs, but he has been favoring the ankle. Meanwhile, Venrick Mark, according to the trainer, done for the day.
Probably explains why they've gone almost exclusively with Simeon at quarterback as well. On third down, they can't convert. 3rd and 1. Dan Vitale couldn't make the catch. Then they will punt for the 9th time today. The previous high for number of punts in a game this year for Northwestern, just 5.
Yeah, and you see the frustration on Coach Fitzgerald, if not physically, mentally, because an open receiver missed and the chance to move the chains missed.
Denzel Doe back for the punt from Brandon Williams. Again, not very deep, and a fair catch made by Doe at the 42. 40-yard punt.
The Eagles.
Well, Chris, I know you and I were impressed with a lot of what we saw from Boston College when we saw them at home against Florida State a couple weeks ago.
I was impressed in how well they're coached on both sides of the ball and led by Coach Adazio.
1st and 10, Wisconsin leading 28-6, and Joel Stabby sacked back at the 36-yard line by Damian Proby. 2nd sack of the day for the Wildcats.
Now what Northwestern is starting to do is to get his guys aggressive. He's starting to blitz a little bit more. That time the linebacker making the sack. Now you set up your blitz beaters for Wisconsin and Coach Ludwig. If you have any, that's the time to run it. And a lot of that's a quick screens out to the outside because the corners are playing off.
Wisconsin's offense has had 15 plays of 10 yards or more today. James White bounced off a hit, but then couldn't stay on his feet. And he went down at the 40-yard line, 12 yards short of the first down. Ran into Dean Lowry. Looked like he was going to survive that hit. Third down, 12. Wisconsin 4 out of 9 on third down today. They're showing blitz, and they bring a blitz. Good pocket given to Stabby. This pass caught, and then Jeff Duckworth ducked away for a first down. Looked like they had a chance to tackle him shy of the marker, but he spun away to the 42-yard line of Northwestern and a first down.
The impressive thing about Stabby, he does not panic. Little chaos around him in that pocket, but right there was the strike delivered. And Duckworth taking a good shot, but he's stepping up and making some plays.
Travion Henry walloped him, but Nick Van Hoos had to make that tackle for Northwestern and did not. There's the play they scored on earlier, and that time Gordon tripped up by Colin Ellis.
Here's the highlight rushing package. It's all set up with what we just saw, the fly sweep or the jet sweep, whichever you prefer. You get the ball into the hands of your speed guy with 2 tight ends on the perimeter blocking. You get wide receivers blocking downfield. You do not adjust. This is what happens, and it sets up this. Because of the motion of Gordon, then the inside running game becomes a factor because you have to honor Gordon, so you cannot get anybody from the backside to pursue.
James White dropped for a loss on 2nd and 6. He's dumped back at the 41-yard line. Loss of 3. Damian Proby, the tackler, senior from North Las Vegas.
Well, to get them attacking, and they weren't attacking earlier, he's calling blitzes. So now the linebackers are getting contact at the line of scrimmage as opposed to 5 yards down the line of scrimmage. And I'm going to go back to it, Sean. Those corners play soft at Northwestern, which Coach Hankwitz likes to do. Then you got to throw the quick screens out there. That's where they've had some success.
Mike Hankwitz, formerly the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin for a couple of years, 2006 and 7. Stabby forced to step up sooner than he wanted. He is sacked back at the 45. Ifeadi Odenigbo with the sack, the freshman from Centerville, Ohio.
Yeah. Home of our own Kirk Herbstreit does a good job of retracing his steps and finishing a big-time recruit for Northwestern. And he's saying right there, I should have squatted the ball. And he made a good play, but as he grows and gets older, he's going to come in for the strip as opposed for the big hit.
Drew Meyer to punt. Badgers eating up a lot of time with these possessions here in the third quarter. End over end, and the fair catch made by Tony Jones. Time now for what is sure to become an Emmy award-winning feature. What's the spiel? Chris breaks down the skill today of forcing fumbles with the help of the Badgers.
Causing fumbles is not an accident. It's an actual skill. And here to help me demonstrate are Ethan Armstrong and Chris Borland of Wisconsin. I'm going to be the running back. Now, Ethan's going to come in. He's going to secure the tackle. Chris, what are you thinking?
As the second guy in, there's an opportunity to attack the ball. So if the ball carrier has it close to his frame, you literally put your face on it, try to jar it loose that way. If he's undisciplined and he's got it away from his frame, there's a chance for a punch or a rip to get it out.
There's a reason why Chris Borland is the active leader in caused fumbles in all of college football.
Pretty eloquent, too.
Yeah, he's after my job, apparently, too. But he's got a long time in the NFL.
I thought watching it, 14 forced fumbles is the all-time mark, by the way, in major college football. So he's one away from sharing that with 5 different players. Simeon threw high on first down, 2nd and 10. And a drop by Christian Jones. The other thing that struck me about that feature was he didn't have to get all dressed up.
Well, I wanted to be like the guys. They had their jerseys on, so I had my workout clothes on. But the thing about him is what sets him apart, again, is his intelligence. And Coach Anderson told us that he's not been around a lot of guys or players that prepare like him, so he's a smart football player. And through his mindset, Sean, it's tough to go in knowing you're the second guy in, not to get the tackle, but to go for the punch or the strip. But he's bright enough to do it.
2 for 13 on 3rd down. And Simeon's pass juggled, caught by Tony Jones, but there's Borland in the right place. As is so often the case, 16-yard line. They're still 4 yards short of the first down, and they're going to punt for the 10th time.
Well, it's kind of a matchup you don't mind if you're Northwestern. If this ball's not behind Tony Jones and he's able to catch it on the run and make the transition to running the football, he might have gotten a first down. But again, Borland taking advantage of opportunities, an outstanding open field tackle.
Brandon Williams punts. Better effort this time. He should be nice and warmed up now. Kenzel Doe.
Might need an IV. First time a punter will need an IV.
Doe brought it back to the 45-yard line. A&M and Ole Miss tonight at 8:30, presented by Hampton Hotels. It's college football prime time. Also available live on Watch ESPN. Johnny Manziel right in the thick of the Heisman race. Our ESPN expert poll, 16 folks polled every week, have Manziel 3rd right now. Taj Boyd moved up to 2nd after his big game at the Harvard of Central New York.
That's
Syracuse
my guy.
University. That's your guy?
Yeah.
Well, I think they have it right. If I had a vote entering this week, it would be Marcus Mariota. And actually,
Yeah.
I do have a vote. I'm not a voter
vote
in that poll.
I have a vote. I'm not a voter in that poll, but it's still early. But Jameis Winston's been so impressive, and I can't wait for the matchup between Clemson and Florida State. Taj Boyd and Jameis Winston doing battle head to head.
Down at Clemson, pass too high for Gordon.
Clemson's maybe looking forward to that matchup with Florida State. And
yeah, they're still trailing Boston College in the second half. Robert Flores will keep us up to date on that.
nice program builder for Coach Adazio if they can pull the upset.
Already doing great work in recruiting at BC, he and his staff, but you can have a win of that caliber. It really helps to get recruits believing in what might be.
Coach Anderson's getting guys to believe. A great hire by Barry Alvarez, by the way.
Melvin Gordon. Well, I just love what Gary Anderson said yesterday, and Andy Ludwig and the staff. You know, they've come in here to a program and a culture that has worked very well for a long time now, with a heavy lean on the running game, the terrific offensive linemen, mix in the play action pass. And they both said, Anderson and Ludwig, that really their coaching philosophy is to gear your strategy around the skills of your players. So that's what this group does well. That's what they're going to coach. Now, if someday they can get more of a dual threat at quarterback, they'll go to more of the spread game. Gordon bounced off the hit of Dean Lowry. Well, they were ready for it, and even then they couldn't stop it. Lowry's changed numbers to number 58, ordinarily 94. Proby made the tackle.
Well, now they're starting to make the adjustment to it, and they know that Watt does not have a carry, so they're just running right to Gordon as opposed to sitting and waiting. Sean, I want to go back to that. I mean, they know that the culture here is always going to be run the football, but the versatility that they want to bring, as you said, is a little bit more of a dual-threaded quarterback, so they can build on the physicalness of the offense that they already have.
Final seconds of the third quarter. James White shoved out of bounds by Abraham Campbell, and that saved a touchdown. They're going to mark White out at the 15-yard line. 24-yard run, 1st and 10, Wisconsin.
Well, you can be a good tailback if you have the skills of James White, and if you don't get touched until you're 10 yards into the second level of the defense. And that's a credit to the offensive line. It's a credit to the scheme. It's a credit to the offensive line sustaining blocks and finishing.
Wisconsin 225 yards rushing now through 3 quarters, and they lead 28-6 as we go to the 4th in Madison.
This telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Vizio.
Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Shannon Spake, our producer Bo Garrett, our director Mike Schwab, our terrific crew. Delighted to have you with us. Homecoming here at Camp Randall Stadium. It's been a very happy homecoming for Badger fans. Wisconsin leading 28-6 as we go to the 4th quarter. In the red zone again, the Badgers. James White dropped for about a 3-yard loss on 1st and 10. by Chance Carter. .451 yards of offense for the Badgers, just 187 for Northwestern. And it's a balanced 451, 222 on the ground, 229 through the air. Melvin Gordon 155 yards rushing on a season high 19 carries. White 73 yards rushing. This is James's 14th carry. He's down inside the 10. We send it to Robert Flores.
All right, Sean, an update from a game on ESPN. A couple of other Big Ten teams. Christian Hackenberg to Brandon Felder. And Penn State leading number 18 Michigan at home. Second quarter, 21-10.
We kind of had a feeling that Bill O'Brien would have the Nittany Lions bouncing back after the disappointing loss last week to the Hoosiers. Michigan's still dangerous. A lot of weapons on that offense.
And Hackenberg really living up to the hype as he came in as highly touted quarterback prospects in the country. Stuck with his commitment to Penn State. James White picks up the first down on 3rd down and 2. Chance Carter made another tackle. 1st and goal. And Will Hampton is slow to get up for Northwestern. Well, we talked to Mike Hankwitz about what happened last week against Ohio State, and you talked about at the top of the telecast. Buckeyes rushed for 248 yards, 168 from Carlos Hyde. He said obviously it bothered him, but prior to that they had really done a very good job against the run. Well, this is 2 weeks in a row they've given up well over 200 yards on the ground.
Well, and you look at the similarities of why. Well, big offensive lines, and they're getting pushed back. And Pat talked about it, and I want to go over it again. It's the attack mentality. These teams do a good job of staying on double teams on defensive linemen. Unless your linebackers are running downhill and filling gaps, those double teams get pushed into the linebackers, which cuts them off. And we've seen it all day today. If linebackers are making tackles, they're making them 5 yards down the field as opposed to 1 yard down the field.
Hampton helped to the sidelines. Melvin Gordon now is the running back. He's looking for a hole. Put his head down, then got driven back. Those linebackers able to make a play on that one. Chichi Araguzzo and Damian Proby.
Rare poor read by Melvin Gordon to run into the 3 tight end side. He cut that back inside when he had to corner the end zone. A straight way to 6 points.
If there were any questions about how he was feeling after he hurt his left knee last week, also banged up a shoulder. Did not practice during the bye week, returned to practice earlier this week. Gordon is clearly okay. Stabby after the play fake. Throws, caught. Touchdown, Derek Watt.
Well, they're doing what they want to do. Right here, Watt, it's all set up off the play action. They have not run a running play out of this formation. Watt is outside the offensive tackle so he can get to the flat. It's just a simple little play action. Everybody's sucked up inside. They don't have to be sucked up inside because there's no lead blocker, and it's an easy pitch and catch from Stabby to Watt. Smith got sucked up in that play action, Sean. There's nothing there. Nobody's leading on him. It's a straight touchdown. Easy pitch and catch.
And the extra point up and good by Jack Russell. Another ball control drive. They took more than 4 minutes off the clock, and Watt has his first career touchdown. Tomorrow morning, get your NFL Sunday started off on the right foot at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Sunday NFL Countdown with Chris Berman and company. All the latest news. And before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football now at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Our experts give you all the information you need to give you an edge in your fantasy leagues. Robert Flores is a busy man, huh?
Yes, he is.
Can do it all. Andrew Endicott kicks off. Matthew Harris. Upended at the 29. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, Chris, Vendrick Mark might not be in the game and on the field right now, but he is busy on this sideline. He's just trying to get his players emotionally charged. Chris, you mentioned sometimes when it's such a lopsided game, the emotions can get the better of you, and they're trying the best to just keep their heads in the game, even though the score is getting away from them. Also, another injury report. Kane Coulter, the team has told me, is done for the day, Sean and Chris.
Well, when you lose those type of weapons, and it's a big part of their offense, Vendrick Mark, the home run hitter, and Coulter, part of the two-quarterback system, that puts a hamper in your game plan, believe me.
Trevor Siemian throws, caught. Christian Jones, a lot of run after the catch. Knocked out of bounds by Tanner McAvoy, the former quarterback. Well, big improvement for the Wildcats. Last 3 possessions had all been 3 and outs. That's a 25-yard gain. Four-man rush after Siemian. Got it off to Tony Jones. Was yanked down along the near sideline of the 46. There is a flag thrown back behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense. Number 53. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Jeff Mogus, the left guard.
Well, Northwestern's having a difficult time handling the stunts. What I mean by stunts is that defensive linemen are kind of trying to run picks. They run X games. They run behind each other. And Northwestern has not been able to handle that movement on the pass rush all game.
Pat Fitzgerald clearly agitated on the far sideline. Siemian, that's a long throw, and it's too high for Cameron Dickerson. He's 11 for 29 passing now.
When Pat said it, I mean, it's not Northwestern football. He talked about it. We're not hitting receivers. And quite frankly, Trevor's a much better quarterback than he's shown today. Much more accurate. He's just, there's no rhythm. There's no timing. There's nothing happening for this offense. And it's been like that for 3.5 quarters.
He's played most of the game at quarterback. Kane Coulter banged up, so they had to get away from their usual 2-quarterback system. Down the middle, the catch made by Mike Jensen. McAvoy made the tackle short of the first down yardage at the 38-yard line. When McAvoy is a good athlete, you can understand why they put him out there. Part of the reason why was he broke a bone in his hand. He couldn't play quarterback, but he could still bring up passes and tackle, so they shifted him to defense about a month ago. Bill Bush, the safeties coach, has a long history of taking athletes and making them into good safeties, and they are hoping that that's what's going to happen with Tanner McAvoy.
He actually started his career at South Carolina.
Siemian managed to escape. Running out of time. Looked like he might have been out of bounds, and they are going to mark him out of bounds, I believe, back at the 44-yard line. Or are they? The official started to run like he was going to mark it at the 44.
Well, they called it an incomplete.
Apparently it was just still in bounds. Well, here's third down. They're 2 out of 15. They are 2 out of 15 now on third down. It's fourth down after that incomplete pass, and they will go for it.
Well, they were 48% on third downs coming into this game. That percentage will certainly drop.
I mentioned earlier they've been in the top 30 in the country each of the last 5 years in third down conversions. Usually very good and awful today. Credit that Wisconsin defense, which has played very well from start to finish.
And what they've shown me, Sean, was the ability to get pressure with just 4. And that's something that they haven't been able to do in their previous games.
The 25-second clock should be reset. There's no foul on the play. Fourth down.
Well, Dave Aranda had done a lot of studying of the stats and the film. He said the keys are takeaways, third down defense, and don't give up the big plays. When they've won, not just this year, but in recent years, Wisconsin's excelled in all those areas. Well, they've had takeaways today. They've been great on third down, and they haven't given up big plays. 4th and 2. Nice catch of a high throw. Christian Jones has the first down with about 2 yards to spare, and Darius Hillary, who made the tackle, is not getting up.
Well, they did a nice job of running a rub route or a pick route, so they're able to create separation for the young man on the ground there, Hillary. Good patience by Simeon to allow that to clear to throw to the open guy.
Hillary's a sophomore from Cincinnati, part of this inexperienced secondary. Has really had its best game of the year here today. They started the year with back-to-back shutouts, but that was UMass and Tennessee Tech. Big step up in the level of competition today, and they've held Northwestern to 6.
ABC College Football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football. Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. And AT&T, rethink possible.
The Games and Learning Society here in Madison. They examine how video games can be used to transform how people learn. Or in a lot of cases, perhaps don't learn, because they're spending so much time playing video games.
Think they have Pong in there?
I don't know, is that one of your favorites? You don't strike me as a big...
Pong and Atari.
Do people still play like Ms. Pac-Man? That's more from my era. Incomplete pass. Simeon looking for Rashad Lawrence. 10.5 to go. Kari Washington, true freshman who had the coverage there, just came in for Darius Hillary, who limped off the field during the commercial break. They've been a very good offense prior to today, but not today.
I don't even recognize what I've watched on film, and they'll get it together. Fitz will get them going.
Look out. Bo Allen plants Simeon with the 7th sack for Wisconsin. They came into today with 7 sacks for the year in 5 games. They've matched that total today.
Well, when you're 325 pounds and you got a rip and a swim to follow, take a look. Watch Bo Allen. First of all, there's the rip. You see it? Then the counter with a spin move, and is able to finish. And he's a guy that has a future in the NFL. At his size, Sean, he's a space eater inside. A big reason for Chris Borland's success is because Bo Allen eats up space in the middle, eats up blockers.
3rd down 20. Everybody standing again on that defense. Simeon had to get rid of it, just threw it up for grabs, incomplete. And now Simeon is not getting up. And then Kelly put the hit on Simeon. They don't have Kane Coulter. They're going to punt.
Brandon Kelly's had a nice game. Find a little niche, right? Come in on 3rd downs, be a pass rush specialist. Also, Vince Beagle, his partner in that role, number 47.
11th punt of the day for Brandon Williams. Fair catch by Kenzel Doe. 9.5 to go. Homecoming in Madison. Yeah, that's almost like Baylor's getting shut out today after they scored 70 points in each of their last 3 games.
Yeah,
their stats coming into today were crazy, averaging just over 70 points per game, almost 800 yards of offense per game.
And they were talking about on game day that they could put 100 up on somebody if they wanted to. Well, they're getting humbled a little bit. They're a good football team and playing much better defense this year than they did last.
James White, the ball carrier on 1st down for Wisconsin. There are the numbers. I mean, those are video game numbers. Maybe they can study those
at school over
video
there.
game unit here.
But I mean, what's happening though is Kansas State's given a formula to future Baylor opponents on what they're doing defensively to slow them down.
Last week, Baylor had 872 yards of offense in their 73-42 win over West Virginia. A Big 12 record for yards in a game. Which they'll probably break at some point. Melvin Gordon carries. And I think what we've seen there at Baylor, Chris, is that program is a lot more than RG3, because the guy who really turned it around with plenty of help from RG3 is Art Briles.
Yeah, able to get recruits, and they're on TV, and RG3 certainly brought a lot of attention. And, you know, there's been speculation. Mac Brown, everybody was talking about in hot water. Well, the obvious choice that they would probably go after would be Art Briles. They were talking about that on game day, and maybe that guy, because he can coach.
You think we're canceling the Mac Brown
for now
retirement party, at least for 1 week?
They did a nice job.
Yeah, good for him. Terrific guy who's done so many great things at the University of Texas. Melvin Gordon ran for another first down. And very proud man. He wants to get it turned around. You understand the frustration of the fans because they've been down for a few years now. But I think the guy with Mac's track record has probably earned the right to at least try to fix it himself.
Absolutely, and he's doing that. And he made a tough decision to fire Manny Diaz and bring in Coach Robinson. And right now they're responding. And I think Mac embraces the challenge. I mean, that's what coaches do. They'll never quit, and they'll keep fighting. And that's certainly Mac Brown's MO. This is a tough matchup for Northwestern, Sean. The last 2 times that Northwestern and Wisconsin played, Northwestern's have been outscored 111-32. And so this is kind of, you know, it's a little bit of a trend set here that they just cannot match up with a power football team like Wisconsin.
The last time they played each other, 2010, Wisconsin scored 70 points in that game. They're not going to get here today. Are you surprised that Gordon and White are still getting all of these carries? I mean, the game you would think is in the win column there with 7 minutes to go.
A little bit, but I think that's who they are. And you're going to see this young man who's a true freshman.
Corey Clement right on cue. And that's what they like about him. He is a powerful runner as a true freshman out of Glassboro, New Jersey, where the all-time leading rusher in the history of high school football in South New Jersey. And he's had plenty of chances to play prior to today, as you can see, because they've been in some blowouts, especially early in the year. And he's averaged better than 7.5 per carry.
I'm a little surprised, although, you know, this was something going into the game that we marked, that Northwestern wasn't more stout against the run today, because Pat kind of felt good about that coming into this game.
274 yards rushing for Wisconsin. Back to White. Gets collared behind the line of scrimmage. I guess if you're looking for the positive, if you are Pat Fitzgerald, Mike Hankwitz, right now at least they've held Wisconsin below their average per game, because they average 300 yards per game rushing and have the 273 today.
I think he is surprised at this performance and angry. I think Coach Hankwitz is surprised. And those are 2 good football coaches, and they'll go back to the drawing board. But I bet you if you ask Pat, this is probably something that he didn't even expect. He thought his team was going to come out here and compete today, and quite frankly, they didn't.
Well, he thought they'd rally from that tough loss last week, but as you said, it certainly seems like a hangover. James White carries.
Yeah, you're right, Sean. It might be time to get him out of there, because that's 2 pretty good shots that he's taken.
Yeah,
keep Melvin Gordon out there.
You have a lot to play for here the rest of the year. You lose him or you lose Gordon with 5 minutes to go when you're ahead by 29 points.
Yeah,
you're certainly leaving yourself open to a lot of criticism. And that's not the reason why you should take him out. You should take him out because it's a smart thing to do. It is the 13th 100-yard game of his career. Perhaps that's why they were keeping in there just long enough to get over 100. So both he and Gordon are over 100. Stabby dumps it off to Corey Clement. Breaks tackles and has a first down. Chased out by Ibrahim Campbell. Colin Ellis couldn't get the freshman on the field turf.
Well, this is the difference. I mean, you're bringing fresh legs and a guy that wants to earn his touches. Well, how do you earn your touches? By running through the tackle of Colin Ellis and just showing the coaches that you're fresh legs and you can contribute, and you want to get into that rotation of Gordon and White. They're really excited about his prospects.
I mentioned it's not unusual. They've had 2 100-yard rushers in the same game. It's happened for Wisconsin now in 8 of their last 14 games. Clement down at the 35. Damian Proby made the tackle, and the clock will run under 4 minutes to go. And there it is again, 2 men with more than 100.
And when you see that, you got to give credit to the offensive line. And the thing those two did better today, I thought they made an open guy or the on-block guy miss to get those extra yards. And better job of them improving. And Gordon looked healthier to me today than he did against Ohio State when he got that little knee injury nick.
Gordon and White. Wisconsin's the only team that has 2 running backs in the top 30 in the country in rushing. Clement to the 29-yard line. Araguzzo another tackle. Well, Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson still 1 and 2 in the chase. Who's going to make a move tonight? The NASCAR Sprint Cup continuing with the Bank of America 500, 7 o'clock tonight, right here on ABC. Evan Harvick won the regular race at Charlotte back in May. Jimmy Johnson's won the Charlotte Chase race 3 times.
Well, keep your eye on Kurt Busch, Sean. He won the Nationwide Series last night in the stock car racing. That's the...
You really have to stop it. Well, the entire crew would really like you to stop doing your Chris Economathi imitations. Corey Clement got the first down. Well, there is a flag on the play.
Legal formation. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Let's go to somebody who really does know something about NASCAR. Here's Shannon.
Well, Sean, you'll love this one because we do have to correct Chris. It was actually Kyle Busch, not Kurt Busch, who won the race last night. But,
that's a shock that he missed that up.
Well, thank you, Shannon.
How's this for a field trip, guys? We have a bunch of our colleagues from ESPN. They're down there in Charlotte right now, part of the NASCAR immersion. So they're hooked up with one of the teams. They get to do a ride along. They hang out with the crew and hang out during the race. If they go to Victory Lane, they get to go to Victory Lane as well. So it's a lot of fun. We got to get you guys involved in that next year.
I'm actually shocked that I wasn't invited with my extensive knowledge of that fine sport.
Can you guys name a driver from Wisconsin?
Matt Kenseth.
Right. There's actually a couple. Matt Kenseth, Dick Trickle, Johnny Sauter. So we have a handful of them from this state.
Corey Clement was tackled by Araguzzo. I bet Linda Cohn has a heavy foot in that car. I bet she
likes it. Huh? She likes the speed. Yeah, that looks like fun. I mean, it's interesting.
Well, you couldn't go because it's going on now, and we need you here, clearly.
I can go earlier in the week. Don't they have, like, practices? Go look at the mechanics.
They don't just show up on Saturday or Sunday and race. You know, they practice. 4th down and 5. Stabby, rare throw of late with this big lead. Shows that he can do some work with his feet. Is that Johnny Manziel? Incomplete. Intended for Derek Watt. Scored his first career touchdown earlier in the second half. Good effort by Stabby, but they turn it over on downs. Time for our Pacific Life game summary from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. Badgers have scored in every quarter. They've held Northwestern to just 2 field goals. Northwestern ordinarily does a great job when they get turnovers. They got 3 turnovers. They've scored 90 points this season off of turnovers, most in the country, but credit that Wisconsin defense holding to just the 2 field goals.
Here's my Pacific Life game summary. A beatdown by the Badgers. That sums it up pretty nicely.
Zach Oliver is in at quarterback now. Warren Long gets the carry. Here's our good hands play brought to you by Allstate. It was a very nice catch on a wobbly throw. Alex Erickson, freshman from Darlington, Wisconsin. Flags down. Warren Long. A short run.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
3rd holding penalty against the safety, the center rather. Batadli. Here's Robert Flores.
In the nationwide race last night.
Shake and bake. Shake and bake. I'm all about it, man.
I've never wanted 25 seconds to tick off faster than I do right now.
Warren Long. But the good news is, especially if you produce for a living, that means it's time for another promo. College football prime time comes your way tonight. Hopefully that'll be a close and compelling game. Texas A&M against Ole Miss. Brought to you by Hampton Hotels. 8:30 tonight. Terrific matchup. Also live on Watch ESPN, which Chris was wearing out.
Love it.
In the booth here again today. Fitting ending as Wisconsin stuffs the last play by Northwestern. Joel Stabby. And the Badgers go to 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. And Northwestern loses its second in a row. First time they've dropped 2 straight since the 2011 season. And a big win for Gary Anderson. People here really like him, and they should. He's a good guy, but you go to 3-3, the honeymoon ends fast. Here's Shannon.
Coach, you guys had the lead coming out of the first half after halftime, and you didn't seem very happy. What did you think about their performance in the second half?
Played very well on both sides of the ball. We were physical. We finished the game. Proud of these kids. It's a big win for this program, and big win for these seniors. They needed to, come out and play a really good team, and the crowd's awesome. And what more could you ask for? This is why you coach and got great kids.
Can you give us an update on Aberdaris and his injury?
Jared, I believe, will be fine and ready to play next week.
Okay, what are the areas that you'll focus on in practice this week as you get ready to move in this season?
Well, you know what? I'm going to focus on nothing but the good right now because this is such a big win for us. We're going to go enjoy it. We have a lot to work on. We always do. But we got a lot to celebrate, and we got defense swarmed to the ball today like they haven't all year long, and that was very impressive. This is a good offense now. It's, 7 or 8 games they've scored 30-plus points, so big challenge, and these kids stepped up. I'm proud of them.
Enjoy this post-game celebration.
I will, absolutely.
Guys.
That defense held Northwestern to just 2 first downs in the second half. 527 yards of offense for Wisconsin, just 241 for the Wildcats. Final score is 35-6. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Bank of America 500 Charlotte comes your way next. Chris Spielman will be watching. For Chris, Shannon Spake, and our crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Now we send you back to the studio.